One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back. Sitting around at home, you're trying to decide what to do for dinner, and you can go support some big conglomerate bullshit place that doesn't care about you. Or if you live in Portland or Denver, you can support the greater Grateful Dead and Fish family by going to Fire on the Mountain, and they are going to support you by putting something delicious and hot and wonderful in your belly. And they have new sauces out at the Burnside location. They got a peanut curry sauce and a lemon pepper dry rub.
The Interstate location has the chili lime sauce, and the Thai meets Texas dry rub.
And then the Fremont location has the lemon pepper sauce and the Creole dry rub.
And if you want to see what the specials are going on at all of these places, go to FOTMPDX and FOTMDEN, right?
DENVER.
Denver.
It's Denver spelled
FOTM
out.
Denver. And you can see all the specials they have going on at all of the locations in Denver and in Portland. And hey, check this out. It is the holidays and they have dope ass swag. Go check out the website, portlandwings.com. They have a bunch of swag up there. You can order that. You can order the sauces, so you can get your hoodie, you can get your sauces. You could sit at home and have all that delivered to you, and then you could wear your hoodie and cook the sauces, and it would be a whole like Grateful Dead Fire on the Mountain
Throw down,
thing.
ho down.
Yeah. So
While listening to Fire on the Mountain.
Absolutely.
it would be like Fire on the Mountainception. Check that out. Fire on the Mountain. Do it. Are you secretly longing to ring a silent bell? Do you ever find yourself wishing you were a headlight on a northbound train? Don't be alarmed. No Simple Road and Shop Tour Bus can help. Cure your dizzying symptoms with a one-time double dose of your China Cat Sunflower and Know You Rider teas. Available for the first time as one bundle. Buy the China Cat, get the Rider for 25% off, which is like free shipping. And all teas come with good vibes at no additional expense. When you're checking out at shoptourbus.com, use the code ChinaRider, and if you buy that bundle, you're going to get the Rider with your China for 25% off. Or you can look at all the other amazing Grateful Dead inspired designs they have over at Shop Tour Bus. And when you check out, put in the promo code No Simple Road, all one word, and you are going to get free shipping on that with that box and all the extras that come in it and the bootleg miracle that you just might get in your order. So go check out shoptourbus.com.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. Mel been rocking that hat
Been in the rotation.
since we lived in Vegas and we went on vacation one time.
Before Sydney lived in Vegas.
Whoa.
Or in
California.
LA.
Los Angeles.
Hey now, No Simple Road family, what's up? Welcome to the middle of another conversation with Aaron.
And Mel.
And Apple.
Mel.
And little Darwin, keeping the floor
right.
under lockdown.
Hey, everybody that listens to the show on a regular basis, and even if you don't listen to the show on a regular basis, I want to ask all of you to do No Simple Road a solid. Darwin hurt his rear, it would be his rear right leg. And we're not even sure if it's his leg. We can't take him to the vet because he's a feral weirdo.
At this point, no, it's not he's a feral weirdo. At this point, he is too old to be leaving the house.
He's an old curmudgeon.
It would traumatize him, number one, because he has anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, he's literally hurt. So if we take him anywhere, it's going to run the risk of hurting him on top of like strange people. And
right.
He just can't deal with it.
And he's 130 pounds of furry terror when you bring him somewhere like that. So anyway, my point is, in the past, the No Simple Road family has communally caused it to snow here in Portland, Oregon. We have manifested many wonderful things together. And as a collective, our thoughts and energy can do pretty much anything we can imagine. And so I would ask you to do us a solid and just send healing vibes to Darwin's rear right leg, back. We're not sure which one of those things it is.
It's like 6 inches up from his tail.
Yeah. It
on
looks
his
like
back.
he pulled a muscle in his back.
And it gets like super swollen, and then we'll do a little ice pack and it goes down a little bit. But like if he gets too much excitement or people coming over the house where he has to keep standing up and like seeing who's here, he gets
Busted
really
up.
irritated.
So anyway,
And it's
he's
really
still-
sad, and he's part of the show. And if we needed prayers, we'd ask for him.
And
Well, we actually do
everybody
need
out there
prayers.
knows too, if you got an older dog,
Hello?
they always try to act like a puppy.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
He wants to greet everybody and bark
to
at everybody.
He wants to run in circles.
He
and-
can't help it. Like when people come
Yeah.
here,
I feel the same way. I
Yeah,
do the same
we
thing.
do.
I'm older. I want to bark and run
I
in
hurt
circles when
myself
people come
again
over.
greeting
I hurt my
people.
back. So anyway, if you guys could all do that for us, we would really appreciate it. And let's see if we can manifest a Christmas miracle for Darwin this year. That would be super, super cool. So I will keep everybody posted as to how he's doing. But on to other business. This week on No Simple Road, a very special No Simple Road with Galaxy Jams Reacts. Yes, that's right. If you aren't aware of the YouTube channel and podcast, Galaxy Jams Reacts, you are now aware and you are welcome. It is
Galaxy Jams.
It is super cool, man. So think of listening to your favorite music with the coolest people and talking about it while you listen to it.
Very thoughtful, mindful people.
Yeah, this was super fun. Mike and EJ are awesome, and you can tell really good friends, really good brothers, and they do it justice. These reaction videos.
They really schooled us a lot on the inner workings of how they do what they do, and time management, and like their level of commitment, and just their process of doing so much beforehand, and just a lot of premeditation, and it really. It really taught me something.
It really is the antithesis of how No Simple Road came to be.
Mm-hmm.
What they did is the exact opposite of what we did. Mm-hmm. And it just goes to show that there isn't one way to do stuff.
Absolutely.
There are many ways to skin a cat. And I guess we're skinning cats together.
I also like in this too that there's several similarities between like their relationship and ours, of like the different ends of the spectrum, and like they keep each other in check with certain things. And
it was really, they're very complimentary of each other and how each other works.
And like Mel said, we learned a lot from them. And one of the things that I really got out of this this conversation, was that these types of conversations and meeting people like this are exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about the No Simple Road family. This is what I meant. These kind of people, we're all doing this together. Nobody's trying to one up each other. We're all working together. All boats rising at the same time kind of thing, supporting each other, helping each other grow. And, there's a lot of most industries where you are doing something similar. It ain't like that.
That's what's cool, because podcasting is so popular right now, and it's still in its infancy though, and it has a lot of opportunity to be brand new as an industry.
Right.
Create its own standards, structure, rules, all that. And like you said, they were so helpful at just getting us to see things in a different light, because like you said, it's the opposite. We just started and did it. So it's it was always caught up to itself. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, doing it in that way where you're building up an entire series or something, kind of like a Netflix would do, do a drop or a series. It never occurred to me to even do that or think about that, or when we had multiple episodes in the can, it was a bad problem. We're oh man, we're
backing up episodes. We're making people wait.
Exactly. And it never occurred to me that it could not be non-emergent, that old content could be new to the new observer.
Yeah, and the really cool thing about Galaxy Jams Reacts is that when you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see that it's not just EJ and Mike watching stuff together. There's more people involved, and then also they're getting some of the biggest names in the music business to come in and sit with them and listen to music and comment on it. They've had Russ Lawton and the guys from Dopapod, and
Aggie, Dogs in a Pile.
There's a lot of people going on the show that are hanging out with them, and it's really cool. For No Simple Road, when we talk to the guys in Aggie or Dogs in a Pile or Russ Lawton or whoever, we're getting to know them on a personal level. We're having a conversation between the three of us and them, and we're finding out whatever happens through that conversation on a personal level. This is completely different in that these musicians are listening to music with other musicians and discussing what's
Music,
going
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And so you're getting to hear how those people see their process and how they listen to music.
Yeah.
The other thing I love too is because at first it just assumed like Galaxy Jams, it was going to be all jam bands. This like covers the gambit of all kinds of music.
Yeah, I think jams is like not jam band. I think it's like jamming.
Yeah, jams.
Like a jam. Yeah, exactly. Any kind of jam.
And EJ and Mike, they started as a band. This whole thing started as jamming.
Yeah.
So you'll hear about that.
It's just really cool what they've done. I'm really grateful that they were on the show. I'm grateful for Mike was just so open about everything. Not like EJ wasn't, but like he was just like laid it out there, and his enthusiasm,
Yes.
like his energy level, it just was shocking to me.
He's 110%.
He's electrified. Yeah.
I would say he's 110%.
I agree with
He
you,
even
Apple.
says it like
I'll give it to you.
Like
Both of those guys
he
are
goes at
110%.
everything not half-assed or anything. It's going to be done
Yes, Apple.
right or not done.
Yep.
So like, I mean, what they've done, what they're doing, and what they have planned and everything, it's going to be amazing to see what these guys continue to do.
And that's something that like I've been actually thinking about that a lot lately. It's like I aspire to that, to be able to do what Mike does as far as like creating a plan
Yeah.
for his vision of what he wants the show to do and where he wants it to be and all that. Like I've done that in fits and starts with No Simple Road of like certain things very pointed, but not in a broad way of like, okay, in 5 years, these are the things that we're going to have never. And to be able to do that is
It's like maturing.
Yeah.
It's maturing into your business. It's maturing into your gifts and your talents and your creative process too.
well, and talking about manifesting at the beginning with about Darwin's leg and all of that,
Oh.
right? If I'm sorry, I'm going to back that up and say it different. When you are manifesting something, it's of the utmost importance that you know what you're manifesting. You can't be vague when trying to make something happen. Well, whatever, well, okay, then whatever is going to manifest. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's better to have an idea of what you're trying to bring forth to make something happen.
If you're some things are like manifesting. Is it manifesting if you don't intend on it, or is it just happening?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, in my initial thought is you can't manifest something. You, right? One person cannot manifest something if they're not intending or asking for that thing to manifest. But things can and do happen around you all the time. Circumstances.
So we are human beings, and the human nervous system is a manifestation engine. That's what we do. It's what we are. But the more succinct we are in what we're focusing on, I would imagine, and in my experience, the more effortless the manifestation becomes. Sure, you can just...
But then how do you know what you're manifesting? You have to verbalize it and define it at some point.
Right, that's my point. You're making my point. Yeah, you have to... It can't just be like, whatever, we'll see what happens with everything all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
sure.
Then you wouldn't know. Or you could just sit there and claim, like, I manifested everything.
Yeah, I did it all.
And the manifester.
That's right. I am the chief. But I really like the way that he laid out the plan, and they stuck to it, and they did it. And like, I learned a lot from these guys, man. And just the attitude of like simpatico and brotherhood and support from them.
Kindness.
Yep. Is like I said, the epitome of what
excitement,
I see the
fun.
No Simple Road family as. So I hope you guys dig this as much as we do. And make sure that you go and follow them on YouTube. It's Galaxy Jams Reacts. And then also they've got their podcast. that's happening. So go check that out and follow them.
Is it released yet?
Yeah, I think it came out in November. It dropped. The first episode dropped on my birthday on November 22nd. And it's Trey Anastasio Band drummer Russ Lawton and them listening to music. And then there's Vaporwave icon Dan Mason, Dopapod guitarist Rob Compa, Headcount executive director Andy Bernstein, keyboard and guitar expert Natalie Brooke. And yeah, I mean, they're going strong. So make sure you give them a follow and go check them out after you hear them here. And you can, when you send them feedback, say, hey, we found out about you guys on No Simple Road.
Yeah.
Awesome interview.
I'm excited to hear your episode. I really am.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, me too.
We had fun, man. I was, for you listening, I was on their show and my episode on Galaxy Jams has not come out yet. And we listened to Leon the Third together and, oh, crap, I can't remember what else.
Digging Dirt?
Yeah, maybe Digging Dirt.
Really?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, can't wait to hear it too. So let's do the business and get them to the interview. What do you say?
Yeah.
Follow No Simple Road on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at No Simple Road.
Good job, babe.
Go to www.nosimpleroad.com. Buy No Simple Road merch. There's a bunch of new stuff up there. There is a ticketing link for Skull and Roses. No Simple Road is headed down. We are trucking down to
Skull
Ventura.
and Roses is going to be 5 days this time.
my
Come
God.
have a vacation on the beach.
With us.
Yes.
And the best Grateful Dead tribute bands on the planet.
Wait,
Phil and Friends.
there's a beach?
Yes, there's a beach.
Circles around the sun.
They're improving. Every year they're trying to find better and better ways of doing Skull and Roses. So they're going to flip the stages again this time. They're going to create a whole new beautiful 5 days of love and excitement. So come down to
It's
Ventura.
one of the days it's going to be on 420.
That's
my
right.
gosh. It's going to be a party. So yeah, the ticketing link and banner is up. The lineup is up at nosimpleroad.com and Skull and Roses, their website as well. Check out the Wall of News on their website. It has amazing content every week. They're doing like interviews with some of the biggest names in the Grateful Dead scene. And it's amazing the amount of content that's coming out through Wall of News.
Wow.
So go check out wallofnews.love. That's where all this is coming out. I think there might be a forthcoming article on No Simple Road there.
That'd be dope.
From what I heard through the grapevine. Also, if you scroll down at nosimpleroad.com, our sister Beadwork by Jenny has a new book that's coming out, and we have a link up there for her pre-order and some pictures of her amazing guitar straps that you've seen on, I don't know, little musicians like, I don't know, Bob Weir.
Teal. Anders Osborne.
Yeah, no biggie.
You know,
You guys go check it out. It's on the website.
No, but seriously, help a sister out for real, man. This is like somebody doing a really beautiful collaboration between her musicians and now bringing it to you. So that's like really special that she shares these singularly special pieces with that musician, and then now she's got a book where they're all captured that you can like be a part of that and share the process, and she's just put a lot of work into it. So Christmas time's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there's a link to her page
pre-order.
also for the pre-order at nosimpleroad.com. You can call 971-808-1524. That is the No Simple Road Tepid line. You can leave show reviews. You can tell us what you got for Christmas. Tell us how to fix Darwin's hip. Tell us the best way to reinsert a wick into a candle. I don't know. Call in and tell us something. 971-808-1524.
We'd still like some more recipes, but I guess nobody eats out there.
No.
So.
No.
Or goes to shows, except for John B.
Yeah. Thanks, John B.
Thanks, John.
Again.
We love you, man.
Well, thank you every
We're just
freaking
going to change it to the John B line.
That's
yeah.
Soon.
Call the John B line. You're right. Forget
Call
Tepid.
in the John B line.
Maybe the Tepid line does need a new
We
phone.
are.
Yeah,
you know
all
what?
right.
That
From
just
now on,
happened.
The John B line.
It is the John B line.
Everyone is welcome.
Yeah. Wow. I just lost my train of thought. Patreon.com/No Simple Road. There is how you can monetarily support No Simple Road. You can give as little as $1 a month. Yeah, that dollar that was behind the couch or those quarters that are in the console of your car, you could digitally send to us every month, And then we can continue doing No Simple Road and bring you 2 episodes a week and cool things like Galaxy Jams Reacts and all the people that we've had on and all the stuff.
And $1 doesn't sound like a lot. I know I think that in my mind, like what's $1 going to help? You know, $1 means a lot, especially when you have a lot of people that do something. Everybody gives $1. All of a sudden, that's like thousands of dollars.
Bro, it's called crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
Because there's a crowd of people listening.
$1 means a lot.
So yeah, if you are thinking about it and it's the holidays and you're like, you know what, I listen to these guys all year and I'm going to do a little something for them, then you can go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. And that is the business.
And if you want to do something that costs nothing, you go to the Apple Podcasts. You can give us that 5-star review. And then if you want to go further than that, you can go and you can write a little review and send it to us. We haven't had one since November 8th. It just looked again, nothing new for December. So yeah, be that first person for December to leave one.
All right. That, my friends, is the actual end of the business. I mean it this time. I want to say thanks again to EJ and Mike from Galaxy Jams Reacts for coming and hanging out with the No Simple Road crew and for being a part of our family and part of our community. You guys are so fucking awesome. And we appreciate you being here with us and hanging out with us. And I hope everybody out there loves this conversation as much as we did. And without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
EJ and Mike from Galaxy Jams Reacts.
Definitely not Prince, dude. Yeah, thanks, Apple.
Okay, thank you.
Right on, dude. Well,
yeah.
Jens.
Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
I've been so excited about it.
We have been too. You're getting the extra crispy version of No Simple Road today. It was
great.
I'll just say this much.
We had a bender.
It was a very long night last night. Yeah, we went and saw Green Sky Bluegrass, and we went till like 4:30 this morning. So
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fresh-
yeah, I
fresh as
partied
a
last
daisy.
night too.
But we're here
Good.
for it. You know, we're here for this.
Where'd you go, Mike?
Wait, should we say about?
I went to this local Comic-Con called NecoCon, where my girlfriend used to run a bunch of really major events there, and so she's like a superstar and everyone knows her. So we essentially partied with all these people until like 5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
fun.
So
Okay.
we're on the
All
same.
right.
We're on the same page. Cool.
Yeah, okay.
Love it.
I went to sleep around 2.
Yeah. I
I'm a
watched
little bit-
Netflix and ordered a pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, I just passed out.
Oh, that sounds like a
Watching
great
Netflix.
plan.
Yeah,
does.
that's what's happening today.
It does.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves for the folks that are listening?
Why don't you go first, DJ?
Sure. My name's EJ, and I am with Galaxy Jams Reacts, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and I'm Michael Mahgerefteh. I'm also with Galaxy Jams Reacts and extremely excited to be here too.
We are stoked to have you guys on the show.
Welcome, guys. I'm
Yes.
Mel. We have Aaron.
They know who I am.
Aaron
Yeah.
and
I'm Apple. And
Apple.
Yeah, thanks for what you guys do, man. I was going down the rabbit hole for the last couple hours out on the porch watching. I just love the eclectic mix of music you do. I was watching the latest one with Corey and Victor Wooten.
Right.
Yeah.
And then went to Radiohead, Ozric Tentacles, Dinosaur Jr., Steely Dan, The Beatles, all over the board, checking them out.
So, guys, for everybody
you.
out there who might not know what Galaxy Jams is, what's the pitch? How do you explain to people what y'all do?
So Galaxy Jams Reacts is a program where musicians, music fans, and industry professionals listen to music together and talk about it. That's essentially what it is. You know, I feel that music is such a personal thing. And when you're listening to music together, you're normally at a concert. So you can only maybe exchange a few words oh, that was great. And that's it. Or maybe you're listening to it by yourself, or you're in the car and you're showing your favorite song to someone and they talk the whole time and you can't really get it. Right. And I feel like musicians and people that are in the industry, or just anyone that's a music fan, they're so hyper creative, and it's a thing that they don't really talk about with other people. When you're in a group and you're talking about music, you're making it so you're able to intimately talk about it like that. And I feel like a lot of people don't really get to be able to talk about, music in that way. And the fans don't ever get to hear, in that way. Right. And so I think it's one of those things where it's an important conversation that people can have that's different than just like telling their life story. And there's so much more that can spin off of it. Like we can start listening to a song and they say, oh, my dad used to play this, and we start talking about it like that. Or, oh, I, love going to this venue because of this. And so it's just, essentially it's what it is 4 friends listening to music and having a good time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the idea for Galaxy Jams came about through what, guys?
Well, with the pandemic, we stopped playing music. We were Galaxy Dynamite, and we had stopped playing music a little bit before that. We actually were going to go into the studio to do a recording, and that got totally screwed up by the pandemic. So we just kind of waited and then kind of came up with the idea, actually Mike did, of just having, once it started lifting, having some jam sessions at his house using the thing that we use, like improv jam sessions, just using this thing that we use called Jam Hub, which is kind of like a way for everybody to play. He has like an electronic drum kit and everybody to kind of go in, so you're not making noise, so you don't bother the neighbors, kind of thing. And you get really good recordings out of it too, like kind of high fidelity. So we started doing that, and then we were like, well, why don't we make a show out of this? Because we could just stream it live, and kind of just casually do it. And then I kind of made the stupid mistake saying, well, if we're going to do it, why don't we do it right? And then and then Mike took off into Mike mode. And Mike, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So I started a band called Galaxy Dynamite, and that band is a very, very strange band for 2 reasons. The first reason why Galaxy Dynamite is so strange is that it lasted for about 10 years. 6 years of that was literally only improv. It was 3 people going on stage and figuring it out right there. And our albums, we would go into the studio and just do improv, right? It started because I was jamming with some friends, and then we said, oh, it sounded so good, let's do it again. Oh, let's go to the open mic night, and we called it Galaxy Dynamite, which is named after Dragon Ball Z. It's a move by a minor character called Captain Ginyu that he uses. And so essentially that's like and then after 6 years of doing totally improv, we switched to doing literally only straight up written out music. Every single thing is written out, which I think is so weird. And then the second thing is that
is weird.
I'm the only constant member and the main driving force of the band. And I am A, only the drummer, and B, I don't sing and I don't write music. So for a band to last that long, to have people rotating in and out where I'm the only person and I don't sing and I don't write, it's very, very weird, because I'm just the drummer.
Well, usually drummers are the ones that have a reputation of like being more flighty, and bands change drummers a lot. You're holding it together.
Yes. Yeah. And so essentially we were going to go. And so EJ joined me. Essentially, I lost my bass player, and I knew EJ from another band, and I called him, and he made the very fatal mistake of saying, yes.
That's the worst decision of my life.
Yeah. So,
I lost my life after that.
Yeah. We just keep each other really busy. And essentially, besides doing the band, me and EJ also worked on a few other projects like Starfire Festival, which was a big local festival that was in the front page of the paper, and had a lot of notoriety. We had 3,000 or 4,000 people show up every year. So me and EJ already have a really good relationship in working together to make projects like an actual thing, right? Because a lot of people talk, oh, I want to do a festival, and it's not easy, right? So essentially, we were going to record, and then pandemic happened, and then we just nixed all that. So time passed, and I set up a jam session in my house, like a studio to jam. And like EJ was saying, is that the whole thing is you can't hear it without headphones. So what I would do is broadcast it through Bluetooth to my living room, and I would have parties where there'd be people in my guest room in the studio jamming, and then I'd have parties listening to this broadcasted jam. So imagine that we're going right back to the roots of like how I started doing it, which is just some people chilling in a room, jamming and just having a good time. So then, like EJ said, we said, oh, like if we're going to be jamming, why don't we record it? And then we started recording it, and I would have like, it started off this little thing that I actually called for a very short amount of time all the way improv because I wanted to be like all the way improv where we go all the way.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we just jam, right? And so I used to have like SoundCloud bits coming out, and then I was like, well, no one's going to listen to like a random SoundCloud thing from people that they don't know. So, we decided to put it on video, and then EJ said, well, if we're going to do this on video, why don't we do it live? And if we do it live, we have to be on a consistent schedule, and we essentially have to create this program, that's going to happen every week. And so that's what happened. We had a group of people together, and what we would do is we would do 3 to 4 30-minute improv jams, and in between we would have the show where we would just kind of talk and bullshit around, essentially,
talk with the chat,
with the chat, and it was going really well. And so the thing is that when we were doing it on twitch.tv, which is that broadcasting website,
right?
And if you want to make money off of Twitch, you have to be a Twitch affiliate. And in order to be a Twitch affiliate, you have to meet certain metrics. And one of the metrics that you must meet is that you need to broadcast 7 times a month.
Jesus.
So we were doing this jamming show, which was really crazy because what we would do is we would jam and do the show, and then we would re-listen to it at a quote unquote after party right afterwards. And because when you have a 30-minute jam, we want to make it into an album. So it's like every movement, like if you have 30 minutes, we listen to it and mark where it's like a different quote unquote song.
Okay.
So right now, if you look up Galaxy Jams on Spotify, you'll see we have like 10 or 15 albums that each album is like 5 or 6 tracks. But if you listen to it all the way, it's like one, full piece of music that doesn't stop.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So essentially it was really, really exhausting because the show would take 3 or 4 hours. And then we would be up until 2, 3 in the morning, re-listening to every jam and marking where those parts would be. So then we can go back and release it as an album. And what we would do is live stream that process so people could come in on the chat and like name the songs while we're listening.
Names.
Essentially. So we did that. And so the thing is that's really tiring. And we were doing it once a week. So that's only 4 broadcasts a week. And we needed 7 a month, and we needed 7 a month. So we were thinking like, what can we do? Like, what's a reason to go live? I didn't want to do like, a rerun. And so EJ had a great idea to, start doing a react show, right? Where we just sit around and listen to music and talk about it. So we did that sometimes, and it was getting really, really fun. And then we had our first guest, Neil Fro Evans from Dopapod, which was on June 8th. 2022. And then, the thing is me and EJ are musicians and we want to play music, but we want, a lot of people to hear it and party with us.
Right.
And so we think that if we put a lot of effort towards this endeavor, then if people fall in love with it, then they'll like anything that we do. And so it'd be easier to talk about the jams that we're going to do in the future, because people like the React show. And so essentially it all came out of necessity, like the music started because I wanted to play music. What? And then, we started doing the, React show, and then it was like that. It's all just kind of one beget the other.
So Galaxy Jams then is the feeder, the entry point into the world of your musical
into
world.
The galaxy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like Galaxy Jams is like a channel, and Galaxy Jams Reacts is just another program on that channel. And I'm sure that in the future, we're going to think of other cool, fun things, because me and EJ, like I said, are hyper creative and work really well together. And there's no way that's, the jamming part and the reaction part is going to be the end of it.
Once I want to give up the rest of my life, then we're going to do like jams at the movies.
Do either of you have significant others? Because how are they even tolerating?
It's difficult because that's a really, really good question, because it really was. Because the thing is like everything I do in my life, I do it like all the way. I put everything into it, like
I hadn't noticed.
I can feel that, Mike.
Yeah, we put everything into it. And so, when we started getting guests, we had all these really interesting people that were like, oh, let's do it. And, I wanted to strike while the fire was hot, and I didn't want all these people to just stop talking to me. So we essentially overbooked us. And I remember calling EJ and I was like, EJ, we're literally doing this every day and sometimes twice a day, like 5 times a week for the next like 9 weeks, essentially. And it was terrible, but we got, more than 50 shows, because the idea is that we're going to launch a podcast and essentially we're going to have all 50 in the day. There's only,
Oh,
a
shit.
weekly show. There's only 52, 54 weeks in a year. And so that's like a whole year of content that we, are trying to make. So that way we can relax and we, always have every week something coming out. That's like the goal. So
I feel like
you're
a
right. It
fucking
was hard with the
slacker
significant
right
others.
now. I feel like a
dang.
total slacker.
We all just looked at each other like, what?
I mean, I need a drink of water after your speech, Mike.
Yeah, it was hard. I had to have a talk with my girlfriend and essentially tell her I love you. And, like this isn't going to be forever. We just got to do this. And it was hard the last 2 weeks, that we were doing this blitz. It was really hard because, we just don't see each other that much. And you're right. It's like you have other lives and it's really hard for me to not drop everything in my life to chase after the things I'm passionate about.
Yeah,
full-time jobs and everything,
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have full-time jobs.
Where
definitely.
Where are you guys at in the world?
Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Norfolk, Virginia.
So
Norfolk. There's a bunch of ways to say it.
okay,
Norfolk. I'm
I'm blown away.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. Like I've actually been a guest on Galaxy Jams Reacts. Apple's gonna be one. Mel's gonna do one later.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I didn't know any of that shit. So only thing that I knew was that you had a bunch of episodes in the can. That was it. So what really gets me, man, is like when you're creating something new and you have an idea for something, at least generally, you get the sketch and then you start to build the thing. But Mike, it seems like you're driven in a way that's special. And like when you started booking that, because I understand booking a show and what the calendar looks like. At what point did you stop and go, oh shit? What was the oh shit point for you?
Yeah, the oh shit point was, like I said, I called EJ and I was like, I couldn't say no to them. They couldn't.
And then I'm like
and
verbally shaking him through the phone.
He's
like,
literally like, stop. You keep doing it too much. You need to stop. And, it was to the point where it was like, literally, I didn't have like, I had to just come home every day and do it. But, it's one of those things where, like I said, I wanted to just grab like as much as I could. That way, we can focus on promoting it and not focus so much on like, booking the shows and making it already. Like I have 8 of them in November and I'm already like, I can't do more in November. Like I can't do it, like it's,
I'm like, please no.
Because, I email like literally, and this is an exaggerated number. I emailed 146 people about 8 days ago to do the show, 146 people. Wow. And, they all keep coming back to me, so it's like, I don't expect people to get back to me and they do. And they're these really interesting people. And like, I feel like I can't say no to them. And it kind of turns into this, like, they're like, can you do this day? I'm this really big person. And I'm like, I'll do whatever you want. Just be on the show. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Whatever you want. So yeah, there was an oh shit moment where I called EJ and we literally both were like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this to us. And
but it's great. It's great though in the long run. It's
great.
He pulls me along kicking and screaming, and then I'm the guy who tries to pull him back a little bit, be like, have some sense.
That's our dynamic.
So
our dynamic is like I'm the go-getter and he's the one that has to grab me and save me from myself.
I know the
like
feeling.
For example, during Starfire Festival, I was like, we need like 10 fire dancers, and he's like, we just need 2, dude. Like, don't do this to me. We still ended up having like 4 stages. You know what I mean? And it's just.
So where did the genesis of this relationship come? Whether it was working or personal, like how did that happen? The band.
Yeah, and came through the band. Actually, we first met when my band had a practice space in this building where this guy set up a recording studio in the kind of space next to us. And we were in there, practicing one night. And then the Galaxy Dynamite boys, the 3 guys come in, and that's when we first meet them. And then, I'd see you around every once in a while. You came to the show where he invited you up on the stage, and that was pretty cool. I
loved his band. The thing is, I try and support local music and any music I can, but I'd have to say, I would be lying if I thought that most of it was great. But I really, truly was so in love with his band. They were called the Kill Circuit. I absolutely loved it. And when my old bass player told me he was leaving to go to California, I sat down with the other guy, and I said, hey, I'm going to call this guy EJ, and if he can't do it, that's it. We're done, because I don't want like a schmo. I know this guy knows good music. We're going to call him. We're going to see if he can do it. I called him. He could do it. the show lived on.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that's how that happened.
So
Yeah, and then so we started going around and playing festivals and doing a bunch of other stuff, and then we were recording music. I wrote a whole entire album, the first album that was actually
such
written,
a good songwriter,
and put it all together, and then we went in the studio and did it, and then we were getting, like I said, we were getting ready to do another album, and pandemic hit, and then all this happened.
Isn't it
Wow.
weird to think that like such an awful thing that went down with everybody was, in a sense, the impetus and the genesis for something so wonderful for you guys?
Right.
Like that really is, that's the epitome of lemonade out of lemons.
Mm-hmm. And we look at it in a way that if we wanted to keep going around and like playing all these shows for people, and then driving 8 hours and going to playing a show to like 100 people and this and that, is like we can reach more people doing this quicker, than doing all that. And you get to a point where you're just like, I if I have to sit in the van again for another this and that, and plus we're working full time too, so it's a lot easier to do this and not have to have like practices and stuff, but we fill that up all with like production of the show and everything. So
that's one thing I wanted to touch on with you guys, is that the production quality of Galaxy Jams Reacts is through the roof.
Yeah, it's great.
When I first saw it,
Thanks.
I had no clue that it was a new thing. I thought that it had been going forever, and that this was something that I was just getting turned on to. And it doesn't look like something that had just started out. So it's evident that you guys are very talented in that arena, man. I mean, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's really all thanks to EJ. I'm not going to lie, because number one, he has a lot of experience on the radio. And so just like the way that he's able to design the program and the way he talks,
you do have a
is
great voice, EJ.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second thing is that it looks so good because EJ is also a creative designer and won a bunch of national awards. And so, for example, when we would do our music festival, everyone would always say, oh my God, everything looks so good and put together. And, when you're doing a festival, like the lineup and all the designs and like everything has to look like cohesive. Right. So EJ worked really hard to make that all look good, which is one of the reasons why that was so successful. And I feel like the branding is so purposeful with what we do. And it's all thanks to EJ's talent. He's essentially making how everything looks, and I'm the one in the back that's like reaching out to all the people and like selling the show essentially.
Well,
yeah, he's making it happen, and I'm the guy that makes it look good.
He's exactly. He's the guy that makes it, and I'm the guy that
I'm like, and I'm also the guy like, we need to look up the people's names and figure out stuff about them, and we got to look up this and that and do all that kind of stuff and
make the show quality, because it's like, and also it's hard because I feel like we're DJs in a way, because we have 7 songs usually when we're listening with people, and like those songs, it has to be a combination of music that the guest picks and music that the fan picks, and maybe music that like a very interesting person wants them to listen to, and then what we want, and we have to like make it all flow and like make sense in a way, and have like maybe a running theme in the show or like something like that, just to make it all special.
Wow, that's a lot of premeditation.
Oh yeah,
yes,
it's a lot.
A lot of work.
Well, I'm saying that because you guys mentioned several times you both have day jobs and significant others, and you're doing this, and you have to be premeditated with just these are small details. And then of course the show, the product that you're putting out, and then I'm sure some time rehearsal if you're still playing music at some point, or some type of practice.
Yeah.
Well,
go on, EJ.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, well, the rehearsal thing is we just do it improv, so we're not really doing a rehearsal of music, but as far as like getting the songs together and everything, that is a lot of hours.
Yeah. How many guys do you have in a day? Because it seems like you're working with way more than 24 hours.
A lot of people say that to us, and to me, but I feel like I'm like lazy as hell, to be honest with you. And it's like, like I feel like I really want it, when you really want something, you have to do it. And like, it's like, I feel like I just want it bad, and with Galaxy Dynamite, we played 500 shows and I booked every single one of them. So I was like in that game, the festival circuit and, reaching out to all these bands and doing street teaming and like making all the things come together. And like, I feel like this game that we're playing with this show is so much easier. It's like not as, like for example, when you're in a band, the more that you put into it, then the more that you have to put into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's getting bigger.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting bigger. You got to play more. You got to record more. You got to jump more into it. And with this show, it's like, even if we, reach our wildest dreams, we're 99% still just going to be in the studio doing it. And so that's what makes us really happy is that, I don't, if I can tell my girlfriend like, hey, there's probably no way we're going to like leave for 4 months and go on tour like a normal band. So and that makes it easier. And another thing I want to comment also is that it's a lot less work than it was. Like designing the room, we used to have like a diagram of how we were going to do it, and we would pore over this diagram for weeks and weeks and weeks to try and figure out technologically how we're going to make it so that we can jam and the scenes and the audio and everything. It looks and sounds amazing. And then we had to, figure out where the position in the room it's going to be because it's a small room. And then we had to design all the scenes and like all the software. And we made sure that it wasn't just me and EJ. Like it wasn't just one of us knowing it. Like we both we both have to know how to do this thing. That way, when we're troubleshooting, it's not just one of us looking at the other one like, oh, you figure it out, so which is good because then it means that we're all in the same. But what I'm trying to say is that all that work was front loaded. And now I feel like once we get this podcast off and it's just, a routine of doing the show, making it the podcast, doing it, I feel like it'll hopefully settle out and not be as hard.
Could you do me a favor and just repeat that one more time, that whole thing to these two for me? Just
probably good.
Just kidding. Okay.
We heard it loud and clear the first time, Aaron.
Yeah, it's hard, and but I feel like it's one of those things, like I said, that we can do it all the time. Like even if we want to take a break or like whatever, it's not like a band. Like a band, if you stop, if you're not going up, then like you're going down. Right. That's like what it's like as a band. And once you start going down, it's like steep as hell. And so it's like, we can stop for a bit and then, I could sell out a 5,000 person venue and then in 3 years, no one's going to care. Right. But I could have a very famous person on my show. And in 3 years, I can still tout that to get anyone else I want or whatever. Well, right.
And, so that's also, what makes it a lot easier. People are always, that lives forever on the internet. So that show is not over when it's over. It lives forever and new people can come and see that all the time. So as your audience grows, those people are going to have a backlog of new shit to go look at. That's going to be endless at some point, and that's kind of what's happened with us is like now when a new listener comes to No Simple Road, they've got almost 300 episodes that they can go back and pick and choose the people that they want to listen to. And that was honestly, I got to give you credit, man. A
lot of premeditation.
Yeah, your method is way more intentional than what I've done. A lot of what has happened with No Simple Road has been organic, kind of just that's what happened, and then we did it. You know what I mean? And of course, I am the one that books the show, and I've reached out to almost all the people that we've ever had on. That's true, but like the success of the show and the steps and things that have happened to us along the way, I wasn't shooting for that stuff most of the time. And like I said, I have to give you credit for being able to see that road ahead of you and kind of map it out.
Oh yeah,
that's tough, man.
Well, that's quite a visionary. That's what that is. That's a visionary to kind of see not just where you want to be, but how to get there. Like map it out. Not everybody has that capability. Like people have the capability of keeping up what's happening with them at the time. And I think that's what we've all done. Like we're like, oh shit, we're going to do this now. Oh, we're going to do this. We didn't sit back and be like, oh, we're going to do this, that, and that. We're starting to do it, save that for later. And we're put it out like,
and here's the formula to make sure we all know how to do it. I think we could all take some notes here.
So thank you for being so insightful and sharing so much because I mean, we have very different products, but a similar kind of a, industry we're working in. And to hear you guys with such busy schedules and things to pull it off and not just like pull it off. It's elegant and beautiful and intentional and high quality and fun and silly and serious. And that's not easy to do. So kudos to everybody involved and your partners.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Also, the thing I was going to add too is, I mean, that shows a lot of, for lack of better words, like a lot of balls and confidence to do it the way you did, to send out 146 email and start getting all these people doing that many shows a night. Like, you knew, we're doing this. It's going to work. We're getting this all done. And, instead of like, let's do a couple and see how it goes.
No.
See what our reaction is. You're like,
laughs at that.
You're like,
Really
we're
like that.
doing this and it's going to happen. That's gutsy.
Well, it's funny too, because it's like, there's times where, along this journey that I've been kind of like, is this working? Or he's been this, and each one, we kind of bolster each other up on that end of things, even kind of every other day sometimes. But because the one thing that we do is constant communication. I mean, Mike and I probably talk like 10 to 12 times a day.
That's not exaggeration.
I'm not kidding. I can show
we literally
you.
wake up.
That's a
we talk
brotherhood.
all the time. Yeah, because we're always talking about the project. You always want to brainstorm, and like I said, me and EJ, we used to do this music festival, but then we also used to play at it. And when you're under that much pressure to throw this very big event while also having two sets of music that you got to perform at it while you're doing the show is very, very, very high pressure. And me and EJ went through that many times together, and we know that we can work together, whatever we want to do. It's like a lot of trust that we're both capable and can do it in our friendship. It'll grow stronger instead of it, breaking it apart.
Let's we haven't even touched on the guests that you've had on the show. You guys have, that was the other thing. And I think I told you this when I was on the show with you.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that made me think that you guys have been around forever was the guests that you had on the show, and like the caliber of folks that were coming to experience just listening to music with you guys. And
Thank you.
I'm curious because it's a very eclectic bunch. That's one thing I wanted to mention to the people that are listening is that don't let the name fool you. It's not just jam band centric. This is music centric. This is the music world, and
jams in the bigger sense of the word.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, how are you going about picking the people that you're getting on the show? And also, there's two parts. Also, who's your favorite that you've had on for each of you?
So I picked, the thing is that like, okay, so we first started the show, right? We didn't have any guests. We're trying to think of who we're going to do. And what we did was we would our team would react to music and send it to them and just be like, hey, like, do you like this, reaction that we did? And I remember I sent it to Dopapod, and they were the first people that like shared it out. And the band was like, oh, we all watched the video and we really like what you said. So I was like, cool, why don't we, I'll do another one of your songs. And then why don't you have, the drummer come on and be in the show? And so essentially it started off with me emailing about 100 people, and literally one person got back to me. So then I re-emailed all the other 100 people again, and I said, hey, I got this one person, and then 3 people got back to me, and then I re-emailed all 100 people again, and I said, hey, I got these 3 people, and it's like it just keeps growing like that. And even though we started in jam band world, that's because that's the game that I understand, and that's the universe that I'm familiar with. But we definitely can't wait to keep branching more and more into not only like industry people, like I want to get the head of booking agencies and the head of publicist companies and management companies. Like that's who I think is so fascinating. But I want to also go into like politicians and like CEOs and like people that play actors, like anybody that likes music, they can talk about it. But to answer your question, it's essentially I literally just reach out to any person that I see that has their information public that I can chase after now. You know what I mean? And people that are interesting and that make music that we like. And It's getting to the point now where right now, every single person that we've ever gotten and everything that we've ever done is only done by people's belief in the idea of what we're doing. Hey, that's a great idea. I want to be on the show. But once we can deliver something more than just a good idea, once I can say, hey, not only is this like a good idea, but you'll have 40,000 people watch it in the next 48 hours after we do it, then that's when I think is going to be a lot different, because then it's like I can really get who I want to, because not only is it the guests that come on the show, but it's the people that suggest music. For example, we had Tom Hamilton Jr. on the show, which is, played with J-Rad and things like that. And so what I got was, I'm really, really big fans of his, and I really like Brothers Past, which is one of his first bands, which is like a Livetronica band. So I got Tim Palmieri and Barber, right, the guitar players for Lotus and the Disco Biscuits, to recommend music for him. And then, because he's playing in Grateful Dead adjacent things, I got Dennis McNally, who's I guess they're Grateful Dead's publicist, and then I got Steve Kimmock to recommend music for him as well. So it kind of like took people on a journey through like his career by these people that's like suggesting music for him. So it's not just like the person that's on the show; it's like other people that want to suggest music for him, and that's another reason how we're getting people. Is it starts with, hey, can you suggest a song for this person? And then that turns into, hey, just come on the show yourself. So that's like, it's like on purpose, like we're intentionally reaching out to these people in other ways before asking them to be on the show. And then also we're intentionally being, and this isn't the best word, but we're intentionally being like incestuous in that we're trying to get, like, this, all these people, they all know each other. They all hang out. They all go to dinner parties together. All of them. Like, you think of any big band, right? All the big bands, all their representation, they all know each other. It's on purpose because, they all are trying to keep this boat afloat so they can feed their families. And so they all cling together so they can keep creating this giant umbrella, which is, drawing money and making it so everybody's happy. Right. And so if I keep getting them one by one and getting cracks in this egg, they're all having a good time. Eventually that egg's going to crack. They're all going to talk to each other. And it's just going to be this thing where people keep coming on and people keep liking it. And that's the whole game that we're trying to play.
And that is it's exactly what's happened here.
I know, it's just it's beautiful to hear you say it like that. It's because that's exactly what happens. One person just needs to get involved with this gorgeous idea from really well thought out and, like I said earlier, high production, and then here's another and another. How could you not want to be involved in something so fun and part of something that, like Aaron said earlier, that is going down? It's infinite at this point.
Well, and like Mike was saying too, at the point that you can tell somebody, hey, when you come on, there's going to be 40,000 views on this thing in the next 24 to 48 hours. It changes the game on what the thing is.
Exactly.
Period. It becomes a promotional tool. And so like reaching out to a politician or an industry professional, it behooves them to come on the show at that point.
Correct.
Right.
Wow.
And
one thing I really like about No Simple Road is that you guys mentioned that you have like 300 episodes, and you can start by picking and choosing guests that you like, but then the thing is that when people listen to your program, they fall in love with you. And so then when they start at the beginning, they're starting because they love you guys, right? They were like, oh, like I like the guests, it's okay, but I really care about these people that are doing this program, and that's why I want to start in the beginning so I can get to know them and be on the journey together with them. And that's why I like what you guys do so much, is that you do have cool guests, but it's like focused on like it's like a gonzo style that you guys go through, right? Which I really, really like the way that y'all do it. And that's something that hopefully in the future that we can emulate as well, that when people, they like what we say and, the guest is cool, but it's like they fall in love with what we do. And, that's the goal. So then when we start jamming again, people start listening and they care. That's like the goal. Right. The goal is like, we're doing the React show, but we're musicians and we can't wait to start jamming again and use the notoriety from the React show to draw an audience, so that when we're playing, we have people blowing up the chat and we're having a good time.
Well done.
You know what though, man?
Man.
I have a prediction for you. For real. I don't think you have any idea what's going to happen with this thing. I think I think that this is going to be well beyond anything that you can even try and chart out right now. This scene that we're all a part of is experiencing something really unique in this moment in time that we're living in. We are in a renaissance right now. We just went through the dark ages of 2 years of COVID. All these creative, driven, hardworking, dedicated musicians and industry professionals had nothing to do but think for 2 years and work on stuff that they wanted to do. Now, when you go to a live show, I know that these guys have experienced it. We just experienced it last night. The level of playing and the
production,
the
lighting
vibe that's at every show is amplified times 10. And we're seeing this renaissance. It's happening right now, and we're in it. And luckily enough, we're doing what we're doing, and we're chronicling a moment in time. This is like a time capsule of 2020 on, right? And I don't think that, especially with what you're doing, you can fully see what the potential for that thing is right now. I think that it's going to be well beyond what you imagine. I'm dropping into the middle of the episode to give you an important announcement that has come from our alien overlords out in outer space. They want you to know that you need good weed. Good weed is what you need. And you need to go to
Where would we
Define
find
Premium
that?
Cannabis to get your good weed. That is my alien voice. Tell them more, Apple.
That's a weird alien voice. So we have one location now in Hillsboro, which is our big store. The Forest Grove one is no longer, but now all of our inventory is at Hillsboro. So come check us out. We got a lot of exciting things that are going to be happening, building up the inventory, bringing on new farms, all kinds of stuff. So if you are up here, make sure to come in. Tell us that you are a listener of No Simple Road.
I listen to No Simple Road. The aliens told me to come here.
Well, right on, sir. Here's your 10% discount. Here's a free t-shirt. Here's a free lighter. Here's a button. Here's a thing. Here's a grinder. We're going to hook you up with all kinds of things.
I'm coming in for the thing.
Yeah, here's a thing, man. You know, use it as you will. But come in. Tell us what's wrong with you. We will get you hooked up, out the door with a smile, headed home to smile even more once you use our incredible product to make yourself feel better. So come on in.
The aliens are happy, and now they're going to allow us to go back to the episode.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
Thank you. And one thing that you told me, which I've been thinking about ever since you told me, was that we're in the Wild West. And one thing that I've been thinking in terms of like this podcast ideas and like how it's going to be proliferating into the culture and creating a marketplace together. And one thing is like I was thinking about is like, okay, so for example, let's say I'm in a band, right? And I want to book a show. There's a standard, a market standard in how you reach out, what the deals are, when you show up, who's going to do what. But with podcasts, there is no market standard yet. It's just like, oh, podcasts are getting bigger. You know, like there's an article that came out that like people are paying a lot of money to be on podcasts. It seems that it's like this one thing that hasn't been consolidated yet. It hasn't been regulated or, you know, had a standard put in yet. It's like an emerging still thing. Like, you know, there's big podcasts that like are supported by pockets of media companies that are, you know, devoting time for this. But besides that, it's kind of just this big, you know, pool of all these different ideas that are bubbling up. And I can't wait to see how it all grows, because I think that long form audio broadcasts and production is like, you know, people like listening to it on commutes and it's like that, you know, I think that it's going to be like a thing. I think that more and more as it is, people are going to really, really enjoy. I mean, audiobooks was a thing, right?
I still
and people
listen
really
to
like.
I think about like this too, like when, you know, I'm 44. So like when I was growing up, sitcoms were huge and it was a season, you know, you waited for the whole season. You had to wait every week to see the next one. And then we got to this, you know, Netflix where you can binge things and everything's like so fast. You know, podcasts are like little treasure chests waiting to be discovered by the finder, by the listener, by the viewer, because you can, like Aaron said, he was like, I didn't even know you guys were new or old, or he didn't have any clue, no inkling. And so that's how it is. It's like this timeless, really rich piece of, like I said, like a treasure that you get to find at any stage of your life. A 14-year-old kid could find it. A 70-year-old, widow can find it. Like anybody in between, and it is something that is always giving. It's an alive thing.
Well, and the other side of this too is that the whole Wild West thing. Prior to podcasting, if you wanted to be a broadcaster, EJ, you know this, you had to have an FCC license to be on the air to broadcast. That not being a thing, obviously we're not broadcasting on airwaves, we're on the internet.
Great point.
But that opened things up, and to the bad and the good, right? Nice. So as soon as you start doing something outside the box like that, it opens you up to the realm of the unexpected.
Yeah, possibility.
Right? And we don't know what's going to happen with this yet. Just because Joe Rogan has a successful podcast that makes millions of dollars every year, or Duncan Trussell, or the other great podcasters that are out there, Adam Curry is another one. Just because of that doesn't set the industry standard yet. That's 3 people.
Right.
So we don't know.
And dare we say we're all part of that industry?
Yeah, and
and the creation of the genesis of how it'll be.
Right, like when we went to the Peach Festival, and they asked us to come, and we went out there. When we got home, I was like, "Look, we are creating the industry standard for podcasts going to a festival," and I'm not saying that in any egotistical like we are. I'm saying it like nobody's really fucking doing that. So whatever we do is setting the bar, whether we're
correct,
whether it's great or not, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't have anything to do with us. Like it just happens to be us in that position. And so I think it's important for all of us that are doing this thing to really be mindful of that and like pay attention as we're going forward, because we're all creativity engines. We're manifestors. We make shit happen, right? Like as a human being, that's your whole life is doing that. I'm not just saying us, but humans, we do that. We create stuff. And if we're intentionally focused on creating things the way we want them to be, there's a higher likelihood that that's how it's going to go down, right? And I think we're in a really unique position where this medium is concerned to be able to make it the way that we want it and the way that we think it should be.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll go back to the band thing. When I'm trying to start a band and play shows, there's a certain framework that I need to follow, a certain circuit that's like this beaten path that other bands have forged, right? This band played this string of shows at these venues, and another band behind him, and another band behind him. And then all of a sudden, that's like the string of venues that you got to play when you're going on that path, right? And so it's like there's like festivals and things like that. There's like a framework that's already there, like a standard, like I said before. And with podcasts, like you said, like most moves you make, there isn't a framework. There isn't like you start a podcast and then you post it there and then you post it there and then you'll be successful because those 5 other people did that. It's not that yet,
I wish.
So it's totally like you said, the Wild West for good and bad, because it can be bad because it can be daunting where you're like, oh, like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like we're just kind of shooting from the hip and figuring it out. But then it can be really limitless because you're like, this is a game that in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of people have played yet. And I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you can have a band and be amazing and be the best musicians, but at the end of the game, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people playing that game. So it's hard, you know what I mean? But there's really not that many people in terms of, like you said, there's a lot of great podcasts, but there's not that many of them yet, in terms of people that are going to listen.
Consistency too is the other part of this that I
so EJ says
I've seen.
That's all I preach that like weekly.
Preaches it to me.
Yeah. Like what's your take on that, EJ?
I just think, I mean, and everything that I've read, people just, I think they'll keep coming back to you when they can rely on you as a content creator, and that's what I've read about reaction shows. I've read that about like Twitch streaming shows, podcasts and stuff like that. It's like, if you do it and then stop doing it and kind of relax about it, then people are going to forget who you are. And they're going to be like, well, every time I go there, it's the same stuff. So I've already listened to everything, but if you're constantly putting something out, you're constantly staying top of mind. It's kind of a marketing thing too, right? Because that's what I do. I'm a creative director for an agency in marketing. And so it's kind of the same thing with any business, really, is to keep top of mind. You got to keep your name out there. You got to keep consistently promoting yourself, no matter who you are. I mean, that's why Coca-Cola runs ads. Like, do they really need to run ads? Yeah, they need to run ads so people don't forget about Coca-Cola. They still do it because it's a top of mind thing. So it's kind of the same thing, consistency. And like, with TV shows and stuff like that, if you think about TV shows, I mean, the streaming shows, it's a little bit different now, but back in TV shows, every Friday night at 9, I'd watch this one show, and it was kind of the constant thing that you could rely on that show being on or whatever. So it's, I just think consistency, and people know that you're constantly going to be putting out something new. So they keep you in mind to keep checking back. And I think that's kind of the key.
You're right. Yeah. Because people forget about stuff. There's so many things.
People have goldfish brains.
Totally. There's so many cool things to look at on the internet, on YouTube, on wherever, that if you don't have something literally reminding you, like, hey, Galaxy Jams just posted or whatever, you will just forget.
That just struck a point with me. I can now kind of give an explanation. You're thinking about consistency, because something I love in this household, I'm the only one, is Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live sucks half the time now. It's been bad for years, up and down, but the consistency of it, it's been in my childhood. It started in 1975 in my childhood, and it's always been there. It's never gone away. I know I can tune in and hear that band playing the SNL thing. Even if it sucks, it's warm blanket. It's consistency, and they pull it off sometimes. A lot of it falls flat, but sometimes but that just struck me. It was like sense. It's a consistency I've always been able to know on Saturday night that's going to be there for me.
And can I just say one thing too? If we're back to the regular media TV, they had, Mike, like you were saying, they have a standard, a way that they do things, and like with the booking and the all those types of things. There's no standard for podcasting. So that's what I was going back to earlier. Like, we're making it up. We have to be as consistent 2 days a week, 3 days a week, however many days a week. We make up the next David Letterman's or, Howard Stern's or what. No, I'm just, you never know what we could be.
Right.
We're writing the book.
You guys could be this incredible, historic, cool thing where like musicians get to send their kids. Like, I was on this cool show once, when they just started, again, because you don't know how good it's going to be, and somewhere that you can send somebody. And I don't know, I love this conversation. I didn't expect that I would get so much for our show from listening to you guys. You guys are amazing.
I love, we're talking this industry. That's one reason I feel like a lot of times I live in confusion, kind of, because of working. I do this, and then I work in the cannabis industry.
Well, you're stoned,
which nobody knows. I mean, it's 6 years in a legalization up here. We're still it's in its infancy. Nobody really knows. There was no, thank you. Yeah, there's no SOP.
That's my dream.
Legal dealer.
There's no guidebook for how to be successful in the crazy weed world. And
you're right.
It's a trip.
Same thing,
and that's why a lot of the times it's over legislated because the government tries to set these guardrails, which people can take advantage of, and it can kind of turn weird. And I also was thinking about what you said about SNL, and the thing is that I think consistency is good because I feel like people's brains are all it is neural pathways that are forged by repeated interaction, right? So it's like you said, when I watch Saturday Night Live, I'm thinking about when I was a kid, and I'm thinking about all these things, and it's like these pathways, if you haven't watched Saturday Night Live in a year and you start listening to it and you hear that familiar music, you start thinking about all this stuff, right? And so it's that's why it's important to do it consistently, because when people see that you're doing it, it's like if they do it 2 times, tune in 3 times, it's like people love being habitual, right? Yes. And so like it's all about catching them over and over and over again. So then like their brain just tells them to keep tuning in. It's like, that's why I feel like consistency is so key when you're trying to get, anybody to kind of care about what you're doing, because you got to break into that, giant all of the stimulus, or like every day there's like advertisements screaming at you for your attention and your money, and you got to like rise above it to make sure that you get people's attention throughout like what's the whole world's like feeding them every day.
Right. And like even on YouTube, what we do with YouTube, for the most part, we have a video premiering every day. So if you
literally
subscribe
every
to
day
us and you have the bell clicked or whatever, every day there's a new video for you to look at.
Because every show we listen to about 7 to 8 songs, and when we break it up into different videos, that's 7 to 8 videos, and so that means that every show is like a week of videos. So if we have 50, 60 shows, that's times 7 and times 8, that's how many we got. So we're going to keep it rolling every single day on YouTube.
That got so many waiting to come out, like it's ridiculous.
So do you guys like take turns like editing, or you guys both do it like one? You do one, I do one. Like how
I can tell by the smile it's EJ.
No, actually, it's Mike. Mike does the video editing,
and he does the podcast editing.
And I'll do the podcast editing, and I do all the like art for the YouTube channel, and all the cards, all the different cards that make those, and all the social cards that come up, like for when we're promoting a guest coming on. And so I do all that, and I'm like, I just made a new website, and like I'm the guy that's making all the pretty things to look at.
Yeah.
And then Mike's doing the videos, and he's getting everybody on the show.
Damn. Yeah, that's essentially how we did. And I remember when we first started the show, I knew how important videos were going to be, and had absolutely no idea. Yeah, he was doing the videos, and I was like, it can't be just you, and I don't know how to do this. So I like literally just taught myself how to do it, just so we could, so I wouldn't rely on someone else to bring these out. I'm like, I'm going to do it because I know that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do a good job. So
that's amazing. So like this morning, that's one thing I liked in this world of like short attention span theater, the way you broke it into clips. So like this morning, first one I watch is with Victor Wooten and Corey Wong. So you have like, I mean, you put that out as one small episode, but you have 6 more parts to that. 5 or 6 of other songs being reviewed with Russ Lawton sitting in with you.
And then the other thing too is our podcast. What it will do is we have the whole entire thing. So in between those songs, there's like a lot of, so what are you doing now with your, we do interviews with them. So if you listen to the whole thing as a whole, you're hearing like, hey, at the beginning, we're asking you what you had for lunch, or, we're talking in the middle of a song, and then like something spurs a separate conversation, which like, say with like Bill Lawrence from Snarky Puppy, who we just had on, like he was, we talked a little bit about it in a song, and then in between that song and another song, we had a whole discussion about like how free it is to play solo by yourself, because you can go anywhere you want musically, right? And so we had this whole conversation about that. Like, I could do it this way, I could play it, slow it down, speed it up, whatever. And so there's a lot of that you don't get by watching just the React show.
Right.
So
those
you'll
videos,
get it on the podcast. So.
Those videos are supposed to be just little fishing hooks that when people are swimming in the sea, they catch one, and then they're like, yoink. And then they're like, oh, I like that. And then they go to what we're doing, and that's it. We got them. That's why we're doing it. Cause for example, you talked about one that we listened to music with, Corey Wong and Victor Wooten, and I think that was Russ Lawton from Trey Anastasio Band. So
no, that was that?
Yeah.
Or no,
I
think was
it was because we just watched it.
It was Russ Lawton. You're right.
And so if you like any of those things, then in the ether you could find one and then like it, and then bam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got you.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier when we were talking about like the industry and stuff. You had mentioned, like these booking agents and the big bands and their crews and their publicists, like they all know each other, and they all stick together because they're trying to build something that will sustain them and feed their families and all. Okay. That's how I feel with you guys. We're in the same boat, man. We're trying to do the same thing, and I don't feel like it's a competition. It's not the same. We are doing our own things, but we're in the same business. And I think that's one of the things that for me, like if I had my choice to be able to build podcasting any way that I could, and I do, right? Because we're building this thing from the ground up, is that we work together to help each other. And I think that puts a different kind of energy into the work that we all do. And it's just better that way. Unless it sure does feel a lot better than trying to compete with other people and comparing yourself to them. And like, oh, fuck, they booked this guest and they were already on our show. That's all that stupid shit. Like, let's just agree to do away with that shit. And like, let's promote the shit out of each other and see what happens. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And I think it all comes down to how secure you are in yourself and your product. Because, I feel like no matter what, I really like what we're doing. I think we're doing a good job. So I'm not even worried about what anyone else is doing except to get inspired by them. You know what I mean? Right. And to work together with them. And I feel like only someone that doesn't truly believe in what they're doing and doesn't truly are secure with themselves would look at anyone else as quote unquote competition. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because even when I was in a band, and doing it, I would see another band getting really, really big. And someone would say, oh, doesn't that suck? Look at that band getting big and you're not. And I'm like, well, that's good for me because then they're not playing the same venues I want to play. And that leaves more room for me to get in and take the vacuum. They're getting big and playing stadiums or whatever. Right. So now I can come behind them and play those small gigs that they're not playing anymore, and that's the way I've always looked at it with everything I've done,
That's super healthy.
Well, and
it is.
And Aaron, when we had a discussion offline with Aaron, and one thing that you said that rang true and kind of like we keep repeating to each other since that was, even if there's somebody else doing the exact same thing I'm doing, they're not me doing it. They're not you doing No Simple Road. There's you were the only ones that could do No Simple Road,
Correct.
They might be somebody out there trying to do the same thing, but they're not the same person. So it's not going to come across the same.
Yeah.
I wonder where Aaron heard that from.
Yeah. We've really been talking about that. Yeah, we really do it.
And we totally believe it.
Well,
we totally believe it. And it's something that we talk about.
This world is humongous.
Yeah.
Everybody could do whatever the hell they want, and we still have space for more people to do what they want. So
that's right.
Why get all your panties in a bunch by looking at somebody else's stuff? That means you're off task and get your nose back in your own business.
Yeah.
There's a big pie. And I feel like when you're operating in a musical multiverse, right, it's easy for you to think that everything is contained in that world, right? But there's so much more. Think of all these different bands that exist that are in totally different universes that you don't even know about, right? So it's like, for example, when I go see Fish, I can come away thinking everyone in the world knows about Fish. Look at all these people, they're so stoked. But to, most of the world, they don't even know what Fish is. And for another most of the world, they're like, that's just hippie shit. Bam. End of story. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like there's so much out there. And I feel like a lot of people, tend to box themselves into like, what they know of. And you just kind of got to break out of it and know that there's such a huge pie. Yeah. You shouldn't be trying to nibble on the little on the slice that everyone else is trying to nibble on. There's like way more.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that's part of like talking about all this in the industry. That's part of the problem that has happened with the cannabis industry, not just here, but in a lot of states. Everybody started out as being in it together, like we're going to learn this, and it has turned into such unhealthy competition of people backstabbing, put other companies down, having that attitude of like we're the shit, everybody else sucks. And I'm witnessing that as disheartening sometimes to be like, man, you used to all be friends, and now you hate each other and are putting each other down. It's weed. Everybody, especially here in Oregon, everybody's growing it. Everybody can grow weed. It's and it's most of it is damn good, but then they get to you get that jealousy and that greediness. Greediness has come into it,
and it comes into money. When money's thrown in that situation, when it gets to be that big, it's hard for people to separate that.
Yes.
So have you guys talked about that? If you become you become ultra successful and money is being thrown around, because that is a huge, very big possibility.
Well, the one thing we have talked around about if we got big, so there's one thing that we don't really do as much right now, which is like really kind of work with smaller bands and like local bands and stuff like that we like, just for the simple fact that, you know, right now it doesn't really benefit them nor us because we're trying to build our audience, right? And for us to listen to bigger bands and stuff like that, it helps us get more audience quicker because of like what you're saying is like there's way more people that are into Aerosmith than, you know, this other band,
Lotus.
right? So then Lotus even, you know, but we love Lotus. But yeah, so like we're like when we if it does pop off when we get big, that's when we're going to start having those people on, because that's one thing we always wished when we were doing our thing locally or regionally or whatever, is that somebody like would give us that chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we have the audience who, when we drop a video and it gets 40,000 likes in a month,
then I want to actually help someone.
That would actually help somebody. But right now, at this point, it's kind of like
building.
You're right. So
yeah, and if I had a local band on the show right now, it wouldn't really matter that much to them because nobody would watch it, you know, because it's like in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of people. But, you know, if we do are successful, I can't wait to uplift other bands and music that, you know, people don't really know about.
I'll tell you,
and other shows. And, you know, I mean, that's the thing is like, because we played that game so many years, you know, so we can't wait to get big to be able to help everybody else get big.
That's really what I want to do.
You know what,
I really want someone to say, oh, I was on Galaxy Jams Reacts. Because I was on it, I got this opportunity. You know, like I would do anything to help someone get that.
That's
really cool.
One of my absolute favorite things about doing No Simple Road is a local to whatever city band reaches out to the show and we have them on. And I say that only because we're finding music that we never would have found out about, and some of it's become some of our favorite shit.
Oh my gosh!
Last night it was like 3 a.m. and listening to we just had this band on Grassy Sounds, and fucking amazing musicians. And I would have two guys. I would have never known about it without this show. And so having the smaller bands on has not only does it help them, but for us, it helps us because it's exposing us to stuff we never would have known about otherwise. It's dope that way.
Well, that's kind of like you go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say like bands like Dogs in the Pile, for it's been years since we first had them on,
right?
And was it Mojo Hand? Like a lot of these
Mojo. Mojo Hand,
Mojo Hand, Aggie. These we had Goose on when we didn't even know who Goose was. And they were just young and stuff, and this was young music, and now to see these guys coming up and stuff is amazing. And then the local bands here in Portland, they're like our family, they're like our kids almost, because a lot of them are younger. There's band up here, Family Mystic and Sponge, like all these local boys that look up to us, but we also look up to them, even though we're like the elders. We really support each other and love to blast everything out there that they're doing and get it in front of people because we believe in it.
Wait, what were you going to say, EJ?
Oh, I was going to talk about, we had the founding, one of the founding guys from Floyd Fest on, and he was
Chris Hodges.
Yeah, Chris Hodges. And he kind of, he's been doing that for a long time with his festival, Floyd Fest. He did it with we talked with him about the Avett Brothers, right? So he had them on. He was like, I'll give you a spot and put you in front of a lot of people, but you got to play for free. And they said, okay, they did it. And then, a couple of years later, he was like headlining them, because it just got them popular. And so he does that with bands and he has a competition to get them in the festival, and other festivals do that too. Which I always think is great as well. Cause that's when we were out playing around, I was like, oh, if they just let us open up for them.
I remember
once.
But you guys
if I just had one chance.
You two as a band are doing something very different.
Yeah.
In the way that you got off the treadmill of the band, of the traditional band way. And I've always thought that. I was like, isn't there a smarter way? I don't know what it is. I'm just, curious, because now that have 300 shows behind our belt and talked to multiple musicians, it is a way to do things. There is a formula. And so I always thought, isn't there something different that's not so taxing and unsustainable for a long-term duration?
I think a lot of them are figuring that out
you
now
know,
post-COVID.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of them have said that too. Like they're really figuring out, like, why am I gone? Do I really want to do this? What is it for?
Oh yeah. Every year that passes by, you have that conversation. And it's weird when you look at like a lineup to a festival that happened like 7 years ago, probably 90% of those bands don't exist anymore.
That's crazy.
You know? And it's really, really weird. And, you know, I keep seeing just like, it's like, I feel like it comes in cycles, you know, like you mentioned before, right now we're in this new age in terms of this, you know, this multiverse we're talking about. Right. You're in this new age band that's like Dog in the Pile and Eggy and, you know, the Magic Beans and stuff like that. But then before it was like Twiddle and Spafford, you know, and Dopapod. And then before that, it was like the Disco Biscuits and Lotus and Humphreys McGee. And I think it's just so interesting, you know, like who's enduring and who's, you know, like the new one at the same time, you know. And I just love it because I know how hard it is every single year. Like even if you look successful on the outside, it can certainly not really be like that.
And it can be exhausting for those guys, man. Like I see it sometimes. It's like the road is a real like thing. And
you have to rely on other people for your livelihood,
right? You
know, and that's what's really hard because what if like, you know, your guitar player gets a girlfriend and he doesn't want to do it? Or what if your drummer falls and breaks his leg? Or what if at any moment that house of cards is coming tumbling down and then you don't have a resume, you know, you just have like, I did this band and then the band's gone and now I'm 37 and like, what do I do? It's, you know, can be really, really, really terrifying the longer that you stick to it.
So,
wow. That's quite a perspective, Mike.
Yeah.
And it's so like spot on.
We've spent the hour talking about music and what you're doing and all that, but at the like chewy nougat center of all that is your love of music, right?
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what started this. That's like the go button for it. And I know for myself, like I have one seminal experience in my life that like kind of put me on my path to my love of music and stuff like that. Do you either of you or both of you have a moment like that? And if so, what is it?
Oh, I definitely, I'll go first. I guess my moment started very, very, very early in my life. And I was lucky enough, I have a brother who's 14 years older than I am. And he ended up going to college and getting his master's in music and all that kind of stuff. So when I was a baby and he was taking care of me, basically to just kind of chill me out or just give me something to do, he would put headphones on me and let me listen to the Beatles or Led Zeppelin or this, you know, even crazy stuff like Tomita, which is this Japanese artist that, you know, first came up with how to record surround sound. And so from a young age, he constantly was feeding me music. I was listening to like Yes and stuff. I didn't listen to like, you know, Fisher Price music when I was a kid. I was listening to like Yes shit. And Emerson, Lake and Palmer when I was like 3 years old and like into it and like singing the songs and he would play the piano and stuff and I'd sing with him and stuff like that. So that's how I got into it. He fed it to me and I took it like a sponge. And
that's beautiful.
That's how I got into it as my brother.
Wow.
That's right on. Really fucking cool.
What a great big brother.
Yeah, that's a good one, EJ.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
I, you know, when was growing up, would be listening to music and was in a few high school bands. I actually was in the school paper, not the school paper, the like area paper, because I threw an event called Mike Stock when I was in sophomore year of high school, which was
the best name of festival.
Yeah. Well, actually it's really funny because I was walking with my best friend and I was like, I don't know what to name this. And he said really sarcastically, why don't you just name it Mike Stock? And I was like, great, you said it. I'm doing it. Let's go. Yeah.
It's about me.
Yeah. It's all about me. Right. So, I remember though, but I was into music then. again, but I went to my first year of this amazing event called Camp Barefoot, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was a music festival that I went to 8 years in a row, very small music festival in West Virginia. And so I went there, didn't really know anybody. And I saw this drummer play for this band called The Breakfast. And this drummer's name was Adrian Tremontano at the time. And I remember watching him and saying, oh my God, like, this is what drums can be. You know, like this guy is playing everything that I hear in my head in the shower. You know, This guy is like absolutely taking me there. And like, I didn't know that it could be like that. And then also that evening, I watched this band called Segway, which was like a Jamtronica band from Baltimore. And they were playing the late night, Friday night on the main stage, or the side stage rather, in the late night. And I remember watching them and thinking, if those guys can do that, why can't I do that? I can be up there. Why can't I be up there? And I remember after they played, I was like talking to, they were breaking down, and I was like, talking to the keyboardist. I'm like, can you tell me like how you're doing this? Like, what did it take? Like, he's like, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then that summer, I started my band Galaxy Dynamite. And then 4 years later, we opened up for Segway in their hometown. What? And then 6 years later, we earned the late night spot at Camp Barefoot to play on that stage at that time slot that I saw 6 years prior. What? I worked hard and I made it.
That's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how all that moment of watching that drummer and thinking I could play like that, and watching that band and saying I could be on that stage. I worked so hard to get there, and Mike, that's what's making me, start the whole thing.
Where, are your parents like motivational speakers, or like some kind of? I'm trying to understand where this drive is coming from.
What sign are you?
He's a Gemini.
Yeah, I was born June 5th.
Yes.
I don't know. My dad is one of the most inspirational people I've ever met. I mean, my dad is crazy. So here's a quick story about my dad.
Yeah.
He is Iranian and came to this country with $100 bill in his pocket. He literally flew to DC to meet a family friend there, and he'd never been there. He literally left his country to come to America when he was in his early 20s. He lands in the airport in DC, and this was when airports didn't close. I mean, they didn't open late, like they closed, right? Mm-hmm. So when he landed, his friend wasn't there to meet him, and he didn't know what to do. So he just essentially started crying in the middle of this terminal. And this guy who was on the flight afterwards came up to him, and he spoke Farsi, which is the Iranian language. And he said, hey, I don't live in DC. I live in a place called Roanoke, which is about 4 hours away from here. Do you want to come with me? My dad went with this guy, and essentially the first words he learned in English was, I need a job and busboy. They told him, his friend said, go into this restaurant and tell them the words, I need a job and busboy. So my dad started doing this, and somehow he learned good enough English to get an associate's degree, and then moved to a place called Portsmouth, Virginia, which is near here, and opened up a car dealership for 35 years and essentially cut his teeth selling cars. And then now we essentially own office buildings where we help local businesses grow by offering them a lot of different services that they can use. And so that's what I do for my day job, is I grow other businesses. And so I essentially have people come work in my building, and I help them get bigger and bigger and bigger by offering them these different services. And so my dad doing that, is one of those things. Like I always think I'm lazy compared to my dad. That's essentially what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Okay. Well, then you put it together for me. It definitely makes sense. Like with somebody that is, never see stop, then that makes you know that you can do the same thing. If my dad's not stopping, it's clearly available to me.
Yeah, there's no one I admire more in this world than my dad, and I'll do everything I can to be half the man he is. Aww. And he's really, really working so hard, and I want to, make my own legacy, because I do love what I do for a living, but, I'm living in his legacy, which is so fulfilling to me, but I want to forge my own path as well. And I think that this project offers me the unique opportunity to be able to keep my day job, but also be able to do this show, in my house as well at the same time. So that's why we're pushing it. Like everything I do in my life, I do it for the long game. I do it like 5 years. Like if I can't see 5 years in the future, I don't care. I'm not doing it. I have to see it, as clear as day. And right when we started doing this project, I could see it, just as plain as I'm looking at you guys,
right.
You know what I mean?
And
so, that's why, we're putting everything into it, because I truly believe in it.
Well, I just want you both to know, like, for real, from the heart, I I love you guys, man, and anything that we can do to help you out. And I like I said, I meant that shit when we talked offline. Like, we need to support each other. We need to help each other, and it just makes me happy that the other people that are coming into our orbit are people like you.
Oh man,
you're the best. Oh my God, I love you. And
I
really appreciate you coming on our show, and being on your show is so amazing. I was talking about it for weeks. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be on the show. It's going to be so cool. I've never done anything like this. And, I really, really was listening to your show before we're on here. And like I said, I love how much you guys make it about, your personal paths and what you guys are doing, because it's making me fall in love with you guys individually, which I feel like is the big point of what's going on, and I love it.
Thanks, brother. Hey, before we go, where now that everybody wants to follow everything you do, where do they go?
No kidding.
Here, you say, EJ.
Where do they go? Right now, go to YouTube. We have all our React videos on there. On Twitch, we do have a schedule up of we do live stream reactions, so you can see the whole thing, which is something that we're going to turn into a podcast that we're gunning for November 22nd to come out, and so that will be everywhere that you can get podcasts, and that's pretty much it, right?
Our website, by the time that this is being broadcasted, will be totally done. So just go to galaxyjamsreacts.com and everything will be right there.
That's React.
Even has a form. Even has a form where you can submit songs you want us to do.
To listen to, because that's one thing I think is going to be really, really important, is that people really feel like they can influence the show. And I mean, just imagine how cool it would be to suggest a song for your favorite artist, and then they actually listen to it, and then they actually give their thoughts on it. Right?
We talk about you and stuff.
It would just be so cool. I wish I could do it, because when we have like these big artists on there, a lot of the times, like, I don't really get to put my favorite. I want to put something that like would be something I think they would find interesting too, right? And so that's why I think it's so interesting, is because people know that at every step of the way they can interact and be a part of the show.
When you EJ, when you get the final artwork for the first episode of the podcast,
sure,
send it to me.
Oh, will do.
Send it to me. I'll blast it out.
Awesome. And anything that you guys want us to do, just let us know.
Oh,
cool,
you
man.
Guys, this was very inspiring.
Super fun. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thanks.
And we'll stay in touch.
Can we stop? And then I was
hang on.
Oh,
I was like, I want to keep you guys on for a sec, because
we had a great time.
I just
Everybody follow him, do the thing, That's a lot of fun we had right there.
Total fun.
You can't fake that funk. You can't.
No,
you can't.
Yay!
We're not actors.
No.
We're not paid actors.
No. So that is the personalities behind the channel, and if you're not feeling the love from those two now, I don't know. Your heart is the size of the Grinch's heart, and
I am constantly amazed and stunned and shocked at how humanity is so awesome. When you meet people like that, you're just like, wow, there are people that are just talented beyond comprehension, smart beyond like understanding, and generous. Like, it just puts faith in the human spirit, in my human spirit.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
I feel like that after that conversation, we were all so lit up. All of us were so lit up. And I just remember just kind of feeling smacked in the best kind of a way by the information that Mike and EJ had about how they do things, and about their dance, of their business dance and their creativity dance. And, that's what's so incredible about musicians and bands, that like, we're in awe of how they work so well together, how they speak so eloquently between the instruments. And we didn't even listen to their music. We were just watching and knowing about their Galaxy, their YouTube. Yeah. And just by that, you can see how well they jive and mesh together. And then that conversation, like I said, it was very, it's like groundbreaking.
Inspirational.
Yeah, groundbreaking and inspirational for sure.
It's also, I was just looking like through their list of reactions they've done. There's a lot of new music that I've found on there. They pull out some very interesting stuff. You just gotta
it's
go
not
on there
all just
and
jam band stuff, we said.
There's stuff like European bands like I never would have heard of if I didn't see it on there. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. And like we said, they launched the podcast on November 22nd. They have the YouTube channel. Go follow them and check everything out that they're doing and support them as part of the No Simple Road family. And, the more that we support each other, then the community just grows. And it's not their listeners and our listeners. It's all of us as a community together doing stuff.
You know how like in a neighborhood, there's like different stores and like there's a gas station and a cleaners and a mailbox, post office and all that. And all of it's necessary. And it's the same thing with everything that's happening on the internet. There's so many things for your enjoyment or for business or for pleasure or for connection. And we're all in the same pool and it's fine.
Yeah. And
the thing I love too, like doing this with like a few times we've done, what do you call it? Kind of like crossovers with another people at podcast. It's kind of like a jam band getting on stage together. Like getting up there, it's like two
with Toby and Davey.
Yeah, like two bands coming together, and it's our turn to noodle and jam for 75 minutes. And kick out that solo, and
it never ceases to amaze me the similarity and crossover between doing No Simple Road and being in a band, and the way that conversation and improvisational music are so much alike. And like we got that comment from Justin Cucci's wife.
Oh, wow.
And she said that the interview was like a flowing 74 China cat. And as a deadhead, I know what that means. I know what that means. And that is like the highest compliment that you could possibly give me. You know what I mean? And like for her to be able to even say that shows illustrates what I'm talking about. Like the crossover between the two is so apparent. And before doing this, I never thought of that. I never thought of like, conversation and music sure is kind of, I listened to Howard Stern every day for 12 years, like every single day.
Yeah. But what's different about that is that you weren't doing a lot of music, going to a lot of music back then like you do now. And so the music is so close to you and it's such a part of what you do that it can't be ignored. And now the conversation is from listening to doing. Yeah.
And another thing that like was impressed on me after this was like how the Grateful Dead family, like, so the Dead started a band and the band started touring, and that touring band had to have roadies and truck drivers and teamsters and ticketing people and whatever, ushers, infrastructure to keep it together. Yeah. And a community started coming up because of it. And it's happening here with us. It's coming together like that. It's not as what's the word I'm looking for? Dire. Like we can maneuver on our own. They couldn't do a show without the roadies, but we have like Toby and Davey and Galaxy Jams Reacts and people like Skydog and Cody who will come in and people that support us, that our community is growing. Yes. Do you get what I mean? And it's a trip to see the crossover there.
And in every show we go to, we meet up with so many people. We end up with a huge crew.
There is a beautiful web of humans that No Simple Road has touched, or they've jumped on the web, however you want to say it. And like, it really has, I think in the beginning say, oh, No Simple Road family, but like, it's really evolved so deeply into that. Like the meaning has grown and changed and gotten deeper. and like we can call our family and like that live here in Portland, and it feels like that. Like we just got together to celebrate your birthday and just kind of everything in general, or just celebrate, you know, it's December, it's great, whatever. But like that was our family. We had, you know, Jen and Brady and Ben and Tiff, and it felt like
my brothers and sisters were here at the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean that. Like it felt like that. And that was a hell of a good time.
It was a hell of a good time. I just wanted to say that the No Simple Road third episode, I believe the title is No Simple Road made me or not No Simple Road.
The Grateful
Dead made me a family man, and I feel like No Simple Road has made a family.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're the three parents. You know, me, you, and Apple, and Darwin, of course, our trusty dog. But like we're
Darwin's
growing and caring for and nurturing this family, and it's really
dope.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool.
It's so sweet.
And here's the trippiest part of it: you listening right now means that you're part of the family.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird to me. Like we are literally sitting in our studio right now.
Yeah, but we're with you in your car, and we're hanging out on your porch with you, and we're in the bathroom while you're taking a shower, listening. Like we're hanging out with you all the time.
That's dirty right there.
Well, and it just keeps growing. That's how I meant to say I was going to give a special. I hope you're. Well, I know you will to the end. Connor, thanks for coming and visiting again at Define Premium Cannabis. I don't get a lot of visitors, but he recently moved into the neighborhood by where I work, so now Define is now like where he comes to check it out and get some cannabis and to visit me, and it makes me feel really good. Thank you, Connor.
That's dope.
Thanks, Connor.
That's really
for doing
cool,
that.
man. Yeah, see, the No Simple Road family web spreads and spreads and
it's
spreads.
really beautiful, and I'm so grateful for it, and I'm thankful that we've been given like to be caretakers of these incredible humans.
You know another family thing? Did we do a shout out yet for oh my god,
nope.
I just had a blank.
Right on,
we definitely didn't.
Wow, total blank. Joel,
congratulations.
I know we've all talked about it, looked at the pictures, but his grandson was born,
Joel and Sarah,
on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, and he is now a grandfather, and he is part of the Grandpa Club. And Joel, congratulations to you and your family and that beautiful little baby. And your whole world has been turned upside down, and I know for a fact because that is exactly what happened when Jasper showed up. So welcome to the family and the club.
And it gets sweeter as they get older.
Yeah.
It gets so much sweeter.
They're so silly and fun. And you guys are going to have the best Christmas now because there's a new grandbaby there. So
Aww.
I want to say something while we're here on the show so that there is audio proof that I said it and that the three of us are here. So we're talking about how this episode, I was talking about how this episode inspired me, how Mike came up with a plan for the next 5 years for Galaxy Jams and blah, blah. Now, I am not trying to be overambitious or overreach and set a 5-year goal for No Simple Road, but I want to set up a meeting before the end of the year with you two and maybe a couple of other key No Simple Road players that I have in mind and talk about what we want to do in 2023.
Like the direction
Yep.
No Simple Road wants to go.
How ideas that we have, things we can add or take away from the show, what we want to do as far as going out to festivals and, just a planning meeting for the year ahead. I think it
I'm down with it.
And behoove.
Yeah. Well, we've gone long enough without doing it. Let's try it with doing it.
We definitely are a non-planning kind of you know what? I wouldn't say that because you do plan stuff.
We plan as
but I
dates get
understand where you're
dropped.
coming.
Well,
I understand where Aaron's coming from because that's kind of in the moment. You plan for the things in the moment and maybe just that short far out, but to project a ways in and to plan for that and make steps every 3 months, check in on it. I am totally down with that. I feel like that's personally what we need and definitely as a show what we need.
And here's the, we do plan stuff as it gets dropped.
But that's a different side.
It's a completely different thing. And the show has grown to the point where I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
I can't mentally or physically do any more than I'm doing now. And so if we're going to grow past where we're at, we need to figure something out.
Well, I think you're referring to Apple and I. We definitely need to grow in our responsibilities to the show for sure.
Well, I'm not just saying, not just that, but like all of it. You know what I mean?
The scale.
I can only do this. I'm here. And if we're going to go past here, and we need to all figure it out together.
And we need, as it's growing, we need a team. So all of we do. That's just the truth. We need help. And we don't necessarily know what that looks like yet.
No. So, hey, if you're listening to this far into the show, you're probably one of those people that could help us out. And if you got ideas, I'm all ears, man. Like for real. I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having trouble with words tonight. I'm not averse to a little inspiration.
When you go into this was back in the day. Now everything's online, but they would have like a little box and you'd be like, comments and suggestions, right?
Suggestion box, yeah.
Yeah. And so you'd go in and you'd be like, oh, it would be cool if you got different seating because these are clunky and whatever. And then next time you go in, there's like different seating and it's like comfortable. And like, I think that sometimes people underestimate the power of a good idea that they may have and that they just keep to themselves because maybe like they think someone won't like it or that it's like silly or not important. But like me and Aaron and Apple, we live together. We've been doing the show for 5.5 years. And sometimes we get stale with the same stuff. You know what I mean? We're thinking the same thoughts and we have the same, a
different perspective is
yes,
good.
Yes, a different, and it's not always that we'll take it or not take it. It's just good to have fresh ideas and fresh, viewpoints of a situation that we're always in constantly.
Yep. And
we have responded and reacted to everything pretty much that we've gotten
that we've been
feedback
suggested.
on.
Yeah.
I feel like we as a team, the three of us, like owe it to the thing to do that. Like No Simple Road deserves our attention that way.
Agreed.
For that.
What I am excited about is something behind the scenes that we're cooking up literally with edible beats. And we're going to start something really awesome in January. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to creating a new segment. No Simple Road is going to have a new segment. And that's all I'm going to talk about for right now. But I'm just excited that we're getting new opportunities to collaborate and be creatively different and still be true to what No Simple Road is.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's the fucking
like
cool.
we always say like we just said, the family grows, the mycelial network grows. We become parts of other people's family as well as them becoming part of our family. The commingling of so many families.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that this is a, kind of like a jam band centric podcast, not exclusively, but a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're jamming with all these awesome different, not just musicians, like the restaurateurs, these authors, these like artists
comedians,
in different ways. And it feels right. It feels good.
And the real common thread of all of it is we all love music.
Yes.
Check this out. I forgot to tell you about this. This is like real-time No Simple Road news that I would have told you off the air. So we partied for my birthday. We had this amazing trippy night. in the morning, me and Brady were the first ones up. Him and I were out on the porch having coffee and a smoke. And we were talking about, I put on Jerry Band. I was like, Jerry Band's great for a hangover. Let's put on Jerry Band. We put it on. And he was like, oh, you should put on the Jerry Band from the Hampton Coliseum, the new release that just came out. And he was like, have you seen the art from that? And I was like, no. He's like, oh, this artist, Graham Yarrington, he did the art for it. It's super cool. You should check it out. We're talking. I go on Instagram, follow Graham Yarrington. That's that. 2 days later, Graham Yarrington reaches out and says, hey, man, I just found out about your podcast from my friend Phil Hanley, and I would love to be on the show with you guys sometime. So he's booked for January.
Is that who I saw today?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like, me and Brady were just talking about him. And then, boom.
Would that be manifesting?
Maybe it would.
Without intentionally.
Without
doing intention, but it manifested through the mycelial network of the connection of all the families.
Yep. Just get inside the engine and see how the gears turn.
I would love to see like the time lapse backwards of how all of that happened.
Oh shit! Like the spider web pieces that connect all the fucking
that
things.
would be so fucking cool to see, like
silver threads connecting each thing. Oh my god! Okay, if you're a AI artist, put that together for me. Will you? That'd be dope. All right, we've talked enough in your ear holes this week. We love you, and you guys are really special.
Never talked enough.
And you know that.
And it's the holiday time, and I always felt like I was being a little grinchy for no good reason at all. Like nothing happened, but I'm starting to feel holiday season-y now on the inside.
Good.
My heart's growing a little bit more.
3 sizes too small.
And it's exciting.
Our tree is dope. I love our tree. Anyway, we love you guys, and I hope that you're having a happy holiday. And if you're not, reach out your hand if your cup is empty. Hit us up on Instagram. I'll get back.
And if
to
your cup is full, maybe again.
Dump that shit on somebody else so they can have some too.
Reach out no matter what.
And we'll be back on Monday with a very comprehensive tarot reading for No Simple Road for the coming year. And boy, oh boy, did it hit home. So join us on Monday. We will be with Aaron and Liz from the Grateful Dead Tarot, doing a tarot reading for No Simple Road and the No Simple Road family for the coming year. So if you want a little insight into your world in the next 12 months, come hang out with us on Monday. We'll be back with more stuff and things. Smile as stranger, safety third, hydrate, and make sure that you have new shoelaces in your shoes. Because, sometimes you can pull on them in the morning when you're not paying attention, and then your shoelace breaks and your whole day is ruined.
And put on those Christmas carols. I know several people that are humbugs that hate Christmas carols. I just don't get that. Right?
Well, listen, Santa.
You can even make up your. There's a few songs I don't like, so I just make up my own lyrics and sing to those and change it up, make it yours.
Right on, man. We'll see you guys. We love you. Peace.
But it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A = A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
This is the story of Whitney Houston.
This is the story of Kurt Cobain.
Of George Michael, of Otis Redding, of Amy Winehouse, of Michael Hutchence, Bob Marley. This is the story of Prince.
It's a new podcast series
about how they died, why they died, and why we're still talking about them so long after.
It's like nothing you've ever heard before.
It's storytelling.
But it's more than that, because rock stars,
they tell us how we feel. They change our mood.
They change the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with,
the way we remember things.
It's them who give us those ludicrous moments, the ones where you're
jumping around, singing your heart out, feeling understood.
And it's those moments we'll help you remember, the ones you're thinking about right now.
That feeling.
That feeling.
It's coming soon from Crowd Network.
Just search for Death of a Rock Star on your podcast app.
And subscribe now.